With the recommendation of alpine nature experience fresh in the mind, the village of Dinner Plain was left behind. Next, to find the rendezvous point with a Frenchman, Jean-Francois, for a snowshoe experience that would lead into the solitude and serenity of nature. A sustainable eco-village in a remote location, with a gourmet selection of food and beverage. A Frenchman in the Victorian Alps, not often seen. A story, a teepee, snow domes, wine and fondue. A must-see and do.
Here I am in the lovely part of Mount Hotham in Victoria, and of all the people I think I would come across, it's a Frenchman. JF, how did you come to this part of the world?
Well, it's a bit of a long story because I've been in and out of Australia for about 6-7 years now. And went back to France and actually did the wrong thing and married my mate's sister, who's an Albury girl. So after living a little bit of about 3 years in France, we decided to move back into this lovely part of the world. About 2 years ago, I launched Alpine Nature Experience, and we're about 4 k's out of Hotham and 8 kilometers out of Dinner Plain. Very, very close to the national park, but just a little bit out of the beaten track. People come to the eco village on sunset. So we fit little snowshoes, have a bit of a tour, talk a little bit about the history of Hotham, sit by the fire, have a nice glass of homemade mulled wine or vin chaud, which is hot spiced wines, and then we move into the teepee where I run a bit of a fondue cooking class. So talk about the different cheeses, the ingredients, and how to cook the authentic French cheese fondue. Now that you can actually get really good cheese, and in this case French cheese, people seem to really enjoy it, and they've all managed to cook their fondue really properly. So
the Australians are doing it quite well.
Yeah, they're doing it all right.
Yeah. And so, is the cheese? Are you getting it locally? Is it from Australia, or where's it coming from?
I use 2 French cheese. I try and get everything I can locally. So. About in the dinner, it's a 3-course dinner, and everything is sourced locally apart from the cheese. So I use 2 different types of cheese that have been selected because they both add different things to the fondue. Yeah. So I use a Gruyere, which is a really good example of what the Alpine region cheese can produce. Very, very sharp, very nutty, has a lot of flavor. Yeah. So it really lifts everything that you put into the fondue. And the other one is called an Emmental, but it's the French version of an Emmental. Only a tiny little pocket of France is still allowed to make it.
Oh wow!
And that one is your classic, the holy cheese. So the one you see in all of the cartoons and the imagery and all of that big wheel with the big holes.
Oh wow!
That's the one.
Yeah. Okay, so with the people having the cheese, what else accompanies?
We start the dinner with homemade pumpkin soup. Coming down from just down the valley. It's all made with locally grown pumpkins as well. And the baker, it's from the Harrodville Bakery, and Nikki does a fantastic job at doing that soup. Then we move on to the French cheese fondue, which is quite a simple recipe really, but it's showing that everything is all about the good ingredients. You don't have to overcomplicate things if you work with really nice ingredients. And then we finish the evening with a bit of homemade cake as well. Same thing from the Harrodville Bakery. And of course, plenty of wine and other beverages to go with that.
Where is the beer being sourced from?
We're very, very fortunate here that we've got the highest brewery in Australia, Blizzard Brewery, just in our backyard. They're one of the very few people that started straight away putting their beers in little cans. So a bit better for the beer, a bit better for the environment, and certainly a lot better for my back.
So effectively you're bringing everything here?
Everything that we bring here, we bring by hand, so we don't use any fancy machinery or skidoos or anything like that. Very much the old-fashioned way. Which is also why I try and work locally as much as possible. So we've got very much a zero trace approach with that entire business, and that's something we apply to every process or everything we do here. So everything that you see here has been brought down by hand, but also built by hand and assembled by hand. So it's quite a bit of effort, and we push that all the way through from the teepee, the furniture, but also all of the food. And all the way to your plates and cutlery, which are fully compostable.
Oh wow! So I believe this whole little setup that you have here has to be taken down at the end of your season here, and you leave no trace.
Yep, that's correct. So we're pretty much building it on top of the snow, so that there's no damage done to the very fragile ecosystem we've got here. And we build it up in autumn, bring everything up, build everything by hand. We don't use really cranes or anything too fancy. It's very much the old-fashioned way.
Old school, yeah.
And then at the end of the season, we just dismantle the whole thing and pack it away so that the vegetation's got a chance to regrow and recover.
Not only can people come and have this awesome experience here, there's some people can stay the night. Is that correct?
So that's the latest addition. So I've conceived little, what we call little snow domes. They're very, very strong, so they can hold a lot of snow, but they also have a clear sky view so that you can lay down in bed and actually see the stars or see the snow falling. They've got a lovely little fireplace in there, lots of fur blankets and things like that, so no one's been cold this winter.
Yeah. What's the feedback?
You know, it's because it's so unique. We're literally the only one doing anything like that in the South Hemisphere. I'm extremely pleased with the reaction of people. It's always a big it's always a big plus when you open up that dome and people just go, oh wow.
So you start in autumn, you say, and you're just about to pack up soon and leave no trace here. What are you doing in the off season?
So in the off season, I try and combine the best of both worlds. So I work down in a region called Rutherglen, and I work in the wine industry. So I bring a little bit of the French touch to support the absolutely stunning Australian wine. And I must say that, although it's been said that French are quite arrogant, Australians are definitely catching up on the quality of their wine. So
awesome.
We got to be careful and watch out because it's really up to a fantastic standard.
So JF, here at high altitude, people love all types of different lifestyle activities. What's your love and passion?
I spend most of the days running the business here, but I can't resist an opportunity to go skiing, especially if it has to be between midnight and 2 a.m.
Midnight and 2?
Sometimes you've got to wait for the snow to be right and the full moon to come up, but when all of the stars are aligned, it's a magical session usually. And it doesn't stop for me in winter. I also love to come here in summer. Plenty of running to do. I do a bit of bike riding, and the ultimate for me is to combine everything and finish with a fly fish. So go and finish the day on one of the little streams around here. We're very lucky that we've got some beautiful rivers, and filled with trout.
Yeah, wow. So while we're in town, do you reckon you could take us fly fishing?
Oh, just about any streams here. There's the Victoria River just down there, which I've been trying to escape a few times too. It's fishing quite well at the moment. So what have you got in mind?
Well, maybe not me, but Chef John would certainly love. He talks about how good a fly fisherman he is, but I'm not quite sure. I reckon maybe you two could get together. And
well, I'll provide the stream, and we'll see who can get onto a trout.
yeah, well, there's the competition.